Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, I
Fuck.
just realized we were not recording.
Fuck. That's brutal. All
Oh,
right, we're gonna have to
dude.
start this all
Fuck.
over again. That's
I
okay. At least we
know.
realize now.
I'm gonna leave this in. This is a great start.
Oh man.
Dude,
It's
we were
okay. It's the first
five
time it's
minutes in.
happened. Episode 21. First time it's happened.
And it'll probably be the last time. And
Yeah.
honestly, I'm it's only 5 minutes. We lost like a little over 5 minutes, but that's god damn it. Literally, you
To
were in the middle.
recreate.
I'm like, this is great. And I looked down, I was like, fuck.
To
Uh
recreate the energy. All
I
right.
know. Okay, it's lights out and away we go. Hello, racers. Again, I guess. Welcome to episode 21 of the Harder Soft Formula One podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Huff, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, RJ McCullough. RJ, what's up, buddy?
Hello again, Adrian. That's for the second time. It's been I had a great weekend at the Toronto Indy. Fantastic.
Yes.
We're gonna hit that. Yeah, we hit 100,000 views on TikTok, so now they're good for us. Don't know where we're at on Instagram, but I assume we're probably around there as well. YouTube's a little slower, but we're slowly building. But progress is nice. And then what else? Oh yes, the dreaded Monaco experience that you put me through, unfortunately, through the course of last week. After Charles won, my punishment was having to do a full 78 lap race on Monaco in F122. So that was torturous, but it wasn't as bad as maybe I thought. The like extra downforce on the cars, actually I'll admit, is a little bit easier this year, even though they're a little bit wider. But I also lowered the difficulty from 85 to 39, so that helped a lot. The qualifying was like 2.5 second gap, and then I lapped like all but 4 guys, I think, in the race. So yeah, it was interesting. It was just more of a endurance and a physical and mental test, because the controller fingers were very difficult with all the gear shifting and a million turns. So yeah, it wasn't the most fun thing, but it actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So yeah, thank you for that. I'm drumming up some ideas in my head, whether it's going to be difficulty or endurance or something, but you just unleashed Pandora's box.
I'm excited. I've been playing. I've only had like a couple of chances this past week to play, but I just finished what's probably going to be my last season in F121. It was extremely intense. It came down to me and Lewis. He was 1 point ahead of me in the final, which was Australia, and I ended up beating him. So I'm so fucking excited to get into 22, but I apologize profusely for putting you through that, but I know it's going to come right back at me. So I'm just so happy that you don't have Max, because I could not handle a full Zandvoort race. Absolutely not.
That would probably be even worse. Yeah. Zandvoort's tough. It's another one
Absolutely
I skipped.
not.
But on the bright side, I think now that I did those between qualifying and the race, I did so many laps. I think now I don't know how it's going to be on higher difficulty, but I think the next season I might actually put Monaco in there, because now I've done it so many times. It was a good way to learn the track, because now I feel like I know it quite well. Didn't have to do too many flashbacks. It wasn't too bad, but yeah, you're going to be in for it on the next one. So let's hope. I have high hopes for Lewis this weekend.
Lewis, I like Silverstone. Actually, Silverstone's one of my weaker tracks. I'm assuming that's who you'd pick. Is Lando on your team this season? Do you know? I can look really quick if you're not sure.
Oh, in the
in our league.
It's a good question. I think he's on your team.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm looking right here. I have Lando Norris. Sorry. Okay, so pretty much if either of the Mercedes driver wins, I'm in for a Silverstone, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you're in for something probably Silverstone related, maybe 110 AI related, maybe online lobby. We'll see. I don't know. I'm gonna have to cook something up that's not fun. But
online lobbies are definitely
Lewis
not
wins,
fun.
I might take it easy on you. Yeah, they're not. George Russell is gonna be a torture for you. Lewis wins, it'll be something fun probably. But yeah,
I think you're most likely gonna get a Sergio or a Carlos again. But actually, I mean, you never know. Mercedes, I think either Lewis or George is due for a win, like pretty soon. So
yeah, And I think they're saying, well, I mean, Christian Horner, you never know what to trust out of his mouth, but even he was saying that he thinks Mercedes will be fast this weekend in France, and it is kind of a similar track to Silverstone, and like a well-paved circuit, which makes all the difference for Mercedes apparently. So, yeah, I've got high hopes.
I like France a lot more than Silverstone personally, but just to drive,
which is which I think is a rare opinion, but we both share it because at least in terms of the video game, which is what we kind of judge by our tracks by. It's definitely one of my favorite tracks on the video game, but probably because it's pretty easy.
It's not too bad. Yeah, that it took me a while. When I first started playing, I picked up F1 2018, so that was what I played. Like that's how I learned all the original tracks or whatever from that year. That big bend towards the end, that's hard to when you first play. It's hard to like get that perfect. When you get it, it's so nice. Yeah.
It's very satisfying. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna once you get the game, we'll definitely get that punishment intact because it'll hopefully be after this weekend. But this past weekend, I was at the Toronto Indy, so that's IndyCar for those who couldn't put that together. So I don't know, maybe it goes like F1, F2, IndyCar, if you were going to say like pecking order, I guess, in terms of like open wheel racing.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's like Romain Grosjean's there, Marcus Ericsson, Colton Herta. So there's a lot of like good drivers in there that have potential to either were an F1 or could be an F1, but it's a good circuit or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it was a great weekend. We mentioned last week, got media credentials for it. Unfortunately, Adrian wasn't able to make it. Just too short notice, no passport yet, but we will rectify that situation. But yeah, I'll just do a quick breakthrough of, because it was Thursday to Sunday, and tried to make the most of it, because the access with the media pass was like insane. Could just go everywhere. So Thursday just went, it was like a 25-30 minute walk from my condo downtown, which was very handy. It was very hot. Still, it was nice to just walk there in the morning, kind of collect my thoughts, and like halfway there you can start hearing like sounds like wasps buzzing, like the sound of the cars all awesome. Like so from far away. Yeah. So on Thursday I just went and picked up the credentials, and then there was like welcome press conferences from some of the drivers. So like Simon Pagenaud was there, Devlin DiFrancesco, he's Canadian, he's like teammates with Romain Grosjean, the DHL I guess, or Andretti. And then this guy I'd never seen before. He's in like one of the different classes. Miles Rowe. He's from Atlanta, Georgia, and he's like leading the USF 2000. And he was like really impressive. And he stole the show. He was just cracking jokes and like, he just came across really well. So maybe look out for him coming up the ranks. So that was pretty much Thursday. Didn't stay too long, but I was like, just kind of, if it was F1, I would have been very like kind of shitting my pants. But since it's Indy, I was a little more like, let's just kind of test the limits, see where I can go. So I was literally walked, not on the track where the cars are going by, but like in the pits, like on the like exit off ramp stuff, and then they were taking some of the cars out. I was going right up to the cars, everything. It was really cool. And then Friday, so Friday the cars were on track, and with my brother came with me. My mom and her husband were there too, so we met up with them for a bit. That was nice, a little bit of a family experience. Then there was cars on track, so I actually got to go with the media pass. You actually get to go like in the pit lane, right up to the cars, right up to like the tires, everything. You can be 2 feet away or 10 feet away when they're doing like their pit stops or firing up the car or all that. So just like an unbelievable experience, so cool. Didn't even get nearly that close to in F1, so it was really cool in that aspect. What else was Friday? There was a NASCAR race on Friday, kind of like not like the main NASCAR, but I guess like Indy series or something. And not really a big NASCAR guy, but it was kind of cool to see. I stayed for the first 10 laps or so of that. They had like vendors all over the place, and there's a few that are just like, there's one that was for like hot tubs, so there's just like 2 girls standing there all day in bikinis, just getting like gawked at and hit on all day, which is like ridiculous. And there's one for like Bermuda or Bahamas, and then the same thing, girls just in like caravan outfits, and it's just like that's a tough one. But I guess they signed up for it. But
probably getting burnt to a crisp.
And there was some Rev TV, I haven't checked into it, but they exchanged business cards with the guy, so I'm gonna look into what that is. Maybe we might be able to do some sort of collab with them. And I also noticed there was a lot of people that brought dogs, which was not a lot, but there was a few people that brought dogs. And like for a human, it's really, really loud. Like it was almost like animal torture. So if anyone's going to a race, don't bring your dog. If you're staying like inside, whatever, but if you're right at the track and you have a dog, that's a big no-no. So no, don't do that.
That sounds fucking stupid.
Very stupid.
Yeah.
So Saturday was the qualifying for the Indy and a couple races for the other series. So there was like the Porsche Carrera Cup or whatever, which is like I don't want to say supercars, but like that model, more like normal cars. And then there's the NASCAR type cars, which we are aware of. Mm-hmm. And there's like Indy Light, which is basically the Indy cars, but a little bit smaller. A little bit, yeah. So there's that. And Colton Herta got pole. They do their qualifying a little bit differently in Indy. They do, so it's like 2 rounds. There's 25 guys, so they do 2 rounds of 1 of 12, 1 of 13. And then the top, they do like 10 minutes each one. And the top 6 guys from each go into a round of 12 guys for another 10 minutes. And then the top 6 guys from that could do a 6-minute final qualifying.
Holy shit.
And then whoever gets first gets 1 point. So it's not a big thing to get 1 point, but it's nice. Maybe you get rewarded. Yeah. But it's kind of better because then you get like not all the cars are on track at once. So I feel like in F1 that might solve kind of a bit of the issues they have with like when there's yellow and red flags that kind of mess up quality.
Yeah.
So that was cool Saturday. And then Sunday, was the race. I didn't really go for the other stuff. I just went for the race and stayed a little bit after. Kind of enjoying myself. Had a couple of drinks. It wasn't buckled or anything, but I was enjoying myself a little bit. I was by myself, so just walking around in the sunshine.
Surprised me with a crazy video. You've got to tell them. It is.
Yes, that's definitely coming. So I was by myself, so I was going everywhere. There was like VIP suites and stuff that I wasn't really supposed to get into, but I was just going in them, checking it all out. Got all the best angles, got some cool videos. And then I was right at the finish line when the cars are going by. There's one guy that was kind of a dick. I asked him to save my spot for 5 minutes, and he's like, I don't know what you mean. I was like, oh, like if someone comes to try to stand here, would you just mind like saying, oh, someone's there? And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, all right, fuck you, buddy. Like,
dickhead.
Yeah, like, all right.
You're just like, okay then.
Yeah, I said, and then under my breath, I was like, you don't need an asshole about it. He was with his kid, so I didn't want to be a dick back.
Weird.
But anyways, and then I went to the podium. I see him do the champagne. Colton Herta finished second. Scott Dixon finished first. I forget who finished third. Saw them do the press conferences and stuff. And then as Colton Herta was leaving this press conference, he was with his like handler or whatever. And he wasn't surrounded by too many people, so I was kind of leaving, kind of tying my leave at the right time. I said, excuse me, do you mind if I just ask Colton, like, just like maybe one question, 1 or 2? She's like, oh yeah, no problem, absolutely. And I thought she was going to say like, no, he's got to go do whatever. So I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like quickly thinking, what am I going to ask in my head? And then like, I'm like, okay, I'll get ready. Grabbed my phone to do the selfie video. And then he stopped to like sign an autograph for a little kid and give his hat. And he was talking to a little kid. So that kind of gave me a moment to collect myself. And it was nice to see him do that as well. And then I'll put the video in right now. I'm joined by Colton Herta, finished second. I'm just curious. So you started the week at Portimao. So how would you? I know it's early, but how would you think you was going to sum up this week? Like you started driving an F1 car, you got pole, you went second. Like how do you think this week's going to sum up for you?
It's pretty amazing. It was really cool to kind of get the experience of F1, but then have a seamless kind of transition into the Indy car. So that was important for me. I did a lot of studying beforehand. Before I got back into the Indy car this week, just to make sure nothing was changed about my driving, because this is my main series, right? This is a series I need to do good in.
Right.
But yeah, I enjoyed it, loved it so much. It's good to be back in North America, though. Okay, and is F1 something you like seriously are considering, like that you would want to do? Yeah, it's a consideration, but as far as right now, like I really have not thought about it. I have not thought about how I did in the test or anything, just because I have 5 races in the next 4 weeks here, so it's a really intense schedule with IndyCar. I'll probably get with the team after that, the McLaren team, and learn more about what I did, what I could do better, and whatnot. But yeah, overall fun 2 weeks.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Great
Cheers.
week. But yeah, I asked him what he'd heard about some F1 stuff. He was just testing at Portimao, so. Yeah, it was just 2 questions. But yeah, I think it went pretty well. He was actually very nice. He kind of looks like he might be kind of like a dick, but he actually, like, from what I saw, he seemed like a very nice guy. So that was good. Just, I really have high hopes now that he'll get into F1. So that'd be really cool to have that for our podcast. Yeah, so that was basically the short version of my weekend. I'll post like some videos and clips and all that over the course of the week. But yeah, that was really cool.
I know.
I doubt you caught any of it, but
I was unable to watch any of the race besides what the stuff you were sending me. But like when you sent me the Colton video, I was just like, I almost screamed. I like showed my girlfriend. I was like, she was like, "Who's that?" I was just like, you don't understand.
It's okay.
I mean, like he's like, and I mean he's a. I mean, I wouldn't say he's an up and comer. He's in fucking IndyCar, but I mean, he has the potential to be an F1 driver. So it's awesome that you got to ask him about IndyCar, but also slip in the F1 question there at the end. I fucking love it. That is so cool. And also, next time we go to a IndyCar race, he'll remember you.
I hope so.
Be able to be like, hey, can we ask another question?
That's right. I'll be like, oh, yeah, interviewed you before.
Yeah.
It's good rapport. There's also a little bit of IndyCar drama that kind of relates to F1, because McLaren, the guy that won IndyCar last year, Alex Palou, Palou.
Mm-hmm.
He won IndyCar last year. He's on, I think, like Chip Ganassi, one of the racing teams, and they announced on Twitter that they're re-signing him, but he then replied, like, no, that's not true. Like, I never agreed to that. And then, like, 8 minutes later, McLaren's Indy team put a tweet out that they had signed him for next year. And he said, like, I'm very excited to join McLaren for next year. And part of the deal is that he gets to test F1 car with McLaren. So Colton Herta got to do that last week, and now this guy that won Indy last year. So it looks like they're kind of testing the waters for maybe a potential Danny Ricciardo change.
Dude, so that's I can't believe that unfolded in Toronto. Sorry. Toronto.
It's okay, you're close. Yeah.
That was close. I'm still learning, but my God, I've got to get more into IndyCar, man. There's just so much entertaining, like, drama and also just really good racing. Who ended up winning?
What's his name? I just said it. Scott Dixon. He's like Dixon. A kind of IndyCar legend, yeah.
He's fifth. I'm looking at the standings right now. Marcus Ericsson is in first place. I did not realize that. He is. Yeah. He's doing like amazing post F1. Like, we haven't really discussed his career very much on this podcast, but I know he didn't win IndyCar, but what did he win? We did talk about that. I forget what he won some like crazy race. I can't remember what it was, but he has just been doing like crazy good. And I mean, it looks like he's on track to potentially win this season. Yeah,
that would be awesome. Like, Grosjean's not doing too well.
No.
It's a big, like, it is similar, but it is different. So, like, there's a big, I don't want to say steep learning curve, because these guys are the best drivers in the world, quote unquote, but it's definitely a little bit different. So you can't just jump right from F1 and be that successful. So, yeah, good for Ericsson. He didn't really necessarily have the best weekend, but it was just really cool to be, like, just to get that close to the cars and the drivers and on the pit lane as they're doing like pit stops and firing up the car, and like all the wings are right there and they're like little TVs with all the data and stuff. Just can't wait for you to go with me. So cool.
Fuck yes. Can we talk about what we're gonna try to do, our little ambitious plans?
Oh yeah, we're gonna hey, the worst thing to say is no. We're gonna apply for media credentials for COTA. So that's the F1 race in Austin. I don't even know when that is, like October?
It's October 28th, I believe.
There we go, end of October. So if we get it, we'll figure out the finances and how to get there we will get that. We'll definitely keep you apprised. But yeah, now that we know we can get Indy media credentials, we'll definitely be looking at that schedule and applying for that, and hopefully because if we were there together, it would be a lot easier and more like, maybe not necessarily even easier, just it'd be more conducive for getting content, because we can do stuff together.
We've got to get harder soft shirts for our first race.
Shirts,
absolutely.
Hats, something.
Hats. Oh yeah, we got to do the whole nine. I'm so excited.
Another thing that was my segue. Another thing that was funny this week, George Russell. There's like a Twitter trend that's gone sort of viral. I don't really know where it came from, but the gist of it is people are quoting saying George Russell is the type of guy to, and then filling in the quotes. There's ones like George Russell is the type of guy to ask the waiter, "What's the damage?" before they hand him the check. Or
so stupid.
George Russell's the type of guy to say, "I'm just gonna squeeze right by you while trying to get through a crowd."
Dude, I just want to say, I have done both of those.
Yeah, I do that too. George Russell's the type of guy to say, "I won't get too far without these." When he comes back to grab the car keys, he forgot. So just like stupid shit like that I can actually see him saying. And he replied to a lot of them. He's handling it pretty well. So I thought it'd be funny if we each came up with our one or two of our own. So I've got one a little bit weird one. So here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to say George Russell is the type of guy to, and then you're going to say yours.
Okay.
And then you're going to say the line to me, and I'm going to finish it.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right. So make sure I get this right. George Russell is the type of guy to
clap when a plane lands.
Ooh, that's a good one.
All right. George, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. George Russell is the type of guy who,
when people ask him about something expensive he's wearing, like sunglasses or something, he'll go, "Oh, these?"
These? Charles Leclerc when he lost his watch. Oh, that?
That? Oh. All right. George Russell is the type of guy too.
Oh, I only had one.
Oh, damn. Okay,
I'm sorry.
This one's a little offside. If I got it.
George Russell
is the type of guy too. When a girl tells him that she cummed, he says, "I know."
Sorry, I almost interrupted you there. I didn't know if you wanted me to do it or not.
No, it's okay. It wasn't the smoothest delivery, but those are our George Russell is the type of guy too. All right, moving on.
At least he's a good sport about it. I like it.
Okay. I'm going to do these in a different order because that's a hard transition. So Mario Andretti was asked on podcast or in an interview somewhere about his team, his son Michael Andretti's bid to get an F1 team, something we've talked about pretty extensively, to be the 11th team on the F1 grid. You okay here? I thought I froze for a sec.
Oh, no, you're good.
Okay, so here's his quote. "They can make it as difficult as they please, and sometimes I cannot believe that the process has to be this complicated, but they have to realize how serious we are, how committed we are. It's not just in and out, it's a long-term commitment with the investment that will be made." So he's trying to get on the grid for 2024. It seems like you could speak with some team principals and you can get an idea or an agreement, then all of a sudden the situation turns. He added, "It would be the biggest disappointment of our life in motorsport to be totally shut out of something that we love, something we have done, something we have lived for. F1 is how my love for the sport was born. If they reject us, for me, it would be the worst moment of my career." So pretty, I don't know, bold is the right word, but like, obviously he has an amazing reputation in motorsports. Yeah. And so he's done a lot. So I don't know if that's just like a hyperbole, trying to use his reputation to kind of get his way in, or if that is true and he really, really cares this much and he's willing to put in the money, and it's just, I mean, I hate to say it, but guys like Toto Wolff that are kind of shooting it down.
Big time.
Like I don't know, I would like to see, we've talked about before, we want to see them join, and obviously Colton Herta is rumored to be the number one guy that they would take, so it'd be great for us and good for our podcast, so we want that to happen, but just I think it'd be good for F1 as well. I mean, even the Indy race this week, they had 25 cars on a track the pole was set in 50, like high 58s or low 59s, like under a minute, so a very small track, street circuit, and it's still the cars fit on there, and like obviously it was tight, but and maybe a little too tight, but still, like having 22 cars I don't think would be the end of the world for F1.
Mm-mm. No. So. I mean, it would definitely, they might have to adopt IndyCar's method of qualifying, who knows, but I don't think it's necessarily impossible or should be completely shut out. I think that's a little fucked up, especially if they comply with all of the FIA's requests. Should be a no-brainer, but we'll see. I definitely think you're right. If they did come in, they would definitely have Colton as one of their drivers. I saw that Marco Andretti is listed in the F1 standings, I'm sorry, IndyCar standings, but he's way at the bottom. Do you know if he's a regular driver or?
I would assume not. I think.
Yeah, probably just a sub because I've only seen like record of one race, but he got 17 points in that one race. So
not bad.
But I actually have sort of a theory regarding McLaren because there is the possibility. I mean, he tested with Colton tested with McLaren, correct?
Yes.
There's been some rumors about Daniel Ricciardo being replaced. I don't know if Daniel's going to be replaced for 2023. But wouldn't you say the biggest rumor is that it's Piastri to McLaren?
I would definitely say that, but also he's under contract with Alpine.
Yes, I think that given Otmar's recent statements that I was sending you, I think it's possible we see Piastri at Alpine potentially in either 2023 or 2024. And who knows, we might see Fernando back at McLaren.
Do you want to just, for people that didn't see, what's awesome, Snauer or whatever his name is, for the people that didn't see his comments, do you want to just like quickly sum them up?
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much one of the interviewer kind of mentioned Fernando's comments about how he's had a lot of bad luck, and Otmar was like, yeah, he's had some bad luck, and then he gives like very specific instances, like down to the moments in the GPs, like early on, like he gives like 3 or 4 examples where he's like, those were his mistakes. So, he's like, don't be fooled by, that he's just bad, horrible luck. I mean, it's his fault he's not higher up in the standings and that we're still struggling, potentially with McLaren. So
yeah, they're tied, right?
Yeah, and given that Fernando's contract is up this year and it hasn't been renewed, it begs the question of if he's going to stick around. And they are tied with 81 points. So
yeah, but to answer your original point, I just wanted to make just in case people didn't see that. I think. So you think it's likely that Piastri fills Alonso's spot and Alonso goes back to McLaren?
I think it's possible that Fernando goes back to McLaren, but I think we may see Fernando with a 1-year extension at the most, but I think Otmar wants Piastri. I think he wants a young talent to get in there and to start molding him and getting the reps in. And I think having Ocon, he's got his faults, but I mean, he's a decent driver, and having an even younger driver who, is coming fresh out of F2, it's a no-brainer to me. I think that's the route they're going to go. That's just sort of something that's been on my mind this past week. But it's also totally possible that Fernando could go to a completely other team. He could quit F1, but he's seemed to express interest in staying with the sport. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes all the sense in the world. More sense, honestly, for Alpine to bring on Piastri. They need their Lando. They need their Verstappen. Like their maybe Russell might be the future for Mercedes kind of thing. They need their young gun, their Charles Leclerc. They need their guy to hitch their wagon to. Ocon's doesn't look like he's going to be that guy that's going to win a world championship. Piastri's the next guy that has been rumored that could be the next guy coming up that has that talent and that potential. So yeah, like if he goes to McLaren, you might just lose the next huge talent, and that you're going to be kicking yourself for the rest of your life. But if you're Piastri, like it would be cool to be teammates with Lando, but Lando's their guy. Like Lando is their like golden child. So I think it almost makes more sense for him as well to go to Alpine and sort of become the face of that. And then if he does well there, then he can kind of get a bump up to a Red Bull or Mercedes or Ferrari, where if you go right to McLaren, like, yeah, I don't know. It just kind of makes all the more sense all around for me, for Piastri to go to Alpine. But then on the other hand, McLaren and Fernando Alonso, like, I just do not see that happening. Like, it makes sense as like from the outside, but like just the little I know is that those two ended on a bad note and they did not get along well the whole time he was at McLaren, and it ended very badly, and it's only gotten worse since. So yeah, I mean, I just don't see that happening, but it'd be interesting. But yeah, I think there's like there's a grid change coming, a big grid change coming in like 2024. So I don't know. There's still, I think I read today, like 6 unconfirmed spots for next year technically.
Yeah, I had that pulled up just a second ago. But yeah, I definitely think it's unlikely. I think out of what I said, I would say I definitely think that Piastri is going to be with Alpine. At the most, if they do decide to renew Fernando for another year, maybe they'll let Williams have him for a year just so he can have the experience before he jumps into the team. But I don't know. They definitely ended on bad terms, but I mean, we've seen some crazy switches before. But
the idea of like, if like they get rid of Ricardo and maybe bring in like a Colton Herta or this other guy they just signed, Alex Palou, or I mean, they have a ton. They've got Pato O'Ward. He's maybe not at the level yet, but maybe bringing in a different young blood guy to sort of be mentored by Lando. That's not maybe going to put that type of pressure. And then I guess the risk with Colton is if Andretti gets in, he'd probably bolt there. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that's even a viable option, or do you think it's going to be someone with experience?
I just would say, given McLaren's track record, I think you're probably right. It's definitely more likely that they're going to go with someone younger. I think that's sort of been the theme. And I think Fernando's a little bit afraid of that. That's probably why he's been making so many comments, because it definitely seems like it's not due, but it just feels like there's going to be a lot more young talent coming in soon. But if the McLaren thing is definitely not on the table and Alpine decide they want Piastri in, where do you think you would see Fernando being A, welcomed, or B, even have an interest in going to?
Yeah, like I'd have to, like, if Seb leaves, Aston Martin, maybe, or like I don't really know where else he could go. I mean, Williams, like, why? I don't know. I can't see him wanting to go to Williams.
No, I have all the open seats if you'd like me to run through them real quick.
Sure.
So Zhou Guanyu was only signed for a year. He's not confirmed for next year.
Let's just go through each one then, one by one. Zhou Guanyu, I mean, I personally think this might be a stupid way to think of it. I think after that crash and like he's actually done pretty good. I think he deserves at least one more year. It might be stupid to say because of that crash, but like,
I agree with you.
You can't let that guy go after that.
And he's been doing really good for a rookie. Yeah, he deserves the seat, and I think they'll keep him, honestly. I think this might be slightly outdated because I think Pierre was just confirmed for another year with AlphaTauri, but Yuki is not confirmed. That's kind of a toss-up to me.
Yeah.
Fernando would definitely not go there.
He's outperforming Gasly, though. And if they just re-sign Gasly...
That is true.
Yeah. And he probably does bring in a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. It's likely
he is maybe one option, though. But then again, does Alonso have any ties to Red Bull or Aston Martin? AlphaTauri? Like, I don't think so.
No, Fernando would never go there, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they would want
that's not really an option.
No. Both Aston Martins have not confirmed either drivers for next year.
One guy's going to be there unless Daddy sells the team.
I think Lance is a given, even though he's been doing absolutely shit this year.
But Daddy owns the team.
Yep. Seb could retire.
So that's maybe the only option, I guess, so far.
Yeah. And both Williams have not confirmed either drivers for next year. And also
Albon
Haas.
Stay.
Yeah. Haas has not confirmed Mick. Kevin Magnussen, I believe, is through 2023 or 2024, but
I think Mick's secured his seat.
Yeah,
next year.
for sure.
He's definitely like I guess the ultimate goal for Mick is to end up at Ferrari where his dad ended up, and he's got to obviously keep progressing, but it could be something a couple years down the line, replacing Sainz or something. That would be just like the coolest thing ever. But yeah, I think at this point, like, Sebastian Vettel would be the only real option if he were to leave, and like if one of them were going to leave, I would want it to be Alonso personally. I like Seb a lot more. Alonso's probably a little bit better at this point, even though he's a lot older, but what do you think?
Wouldn't disagree with that. I like Seb personally more. I still really like Fernando though. He's a legend, obviously, but yeah, I think it's very unlikely we're going to see both of them next season, but who knows? We'll see. I actually just had when you said that, I just had a crazy thought. Like, imagine, because in 2026, the cars, when the regulations change, it supposedly is going to make the cars a lot smaller, sort of similar to the 90s and early 2000s look. Imagine if Mick gets signed to Ferrari 2026 and he starts driving the Ferrari a la his dad's classic car. I mean, it's perfect.
The images of that would be unbelievable. What I thought you were going to say there, though, is imagine Alonso stays on till then, and he would actually be like, he would have driven those old cars, so he would be like, oh, I'm back, baby.
Oh,
I don't know,
God.
he'd be like 46 by then. I don't know.
How old is he?
I think he's 42. And I thought Seb was older.
He's only 40.
Okay, so 44. I thought Seb was like late 30s. I think he just turned like 35 or 36.
Can you imagine a 45-year-old Formula One champion? It'd be like, what year is this? Like 1963?
Oh my God, that'd be hilarious. Yeah, because there are like, it's weird because there's such like young guys, and then there's
Seb is 35.
Guys that seem old. Like Seb, 35. Like, but he seems like he's really old.
He does.
Lewis seems like he's old, and like I guess Alonso is old, but there's a couple of guys on there. That seem like they're really old, and they're really not in the grand scheme of things.
No, Seb, he looks great, to be fair, but he definitely looks older than 35. I mean, that's wild.
Yeah, and he's looking the best now that he's looked in years.
He has.
That's actually a good segue, unless you had anything else on that, to Lewis this week is in his 300th race, which he's only the 6th guy to do that in F1. So do you, Adrian, want to take a guess at the other 5, or do you want me to just tell you the other 5, or see how many you can get?
I think I can
There's one on the current grid.
There's one on the current grid.
Other than Lewis.
Yes, it's Fernando.
Okay, so you got one.
So Lewis will be the 6th.
Yeah, so you got 4.
I don't remember. It's Rubens something.
Yeah, Barrichello.
Barrichello, yes. Rubens.
3.
Jensen Button.
Yeah, 4.
Okay.
So got 2 more.
Fuck.
One of them you should get.
Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, and then there's one more.
Villeneuve? No.
Nope.
It's not Mark Webber, is it?
No.
Okay, I can't guess it.
It's a guy that you are quite fond of. Recently retired from the sport.
Oh,
Famous
Kimi?
for having... Yes.
Oh,
Kimi is currently number 1 all time.
Holy shit.
349.
Yes. Jesus Christ.
349, but right behind him, Alonso 344. So if Alonso, barring any unforeseen circumstances, Alonso will pass him this year.
Wow.
What's Max? Max is what, like around 150?
Max is something...
He started maybe a little more. He started around the same time as Sainz, didn't he?
Yeah, but he's on like the top. That might be for wins, actually, though. I think he's in like top 8, or he's like the 8th most, if I'm not mistaken.
But even if he's at, like, let's say he's between 150 and 200. I mean, we could look it up, but
I'll look it up.
I'm curious because Lewis is at 300. Let's say Alonso gets to like 375 or something. He does one more year. Who do you think ends up with more? Alonso?
Max,
yeah, what's Max?
152.
Okay, so who do you think ends up with more at the end of the day? Alonso, Hamilton, or Max? Because I say Alonso, let's say he goes one more year. That gets him around 375-ish. Hamilton, he'd have to go 3 more years to get that. I could see that happening, but let's say 375 is the bar. Max is at 150 right now. How many years of like, let's say you do 20 races a year, 25 races a year?
It's like another 6 years.
Like I think he's gonna fly by those.
He signed through.
He's like halfway.
Was it 2026 or 2028?
Yeah.
It's something like that. His contract was fucking.
It was a 5-year contract. Yeah, I think it's 2026. But I mean, by no means will he likely retire after that either. So he started racing at 18.
He has said a couple of things pretty recently that has alluded that he may. I mean, he's kind of made it clear. He's like, I don't really plan on racing until I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
So I mean, I doubt he'll retire at the end of this contract, but I don't think he's gonna be like top of all time.
But if he goes 10 more years,
yeah,
then that's another, I don't know, between 200 and 250. So that brings him to 350, 400. I think at the end of the day, I think he might do it. 375. Mm-hmm. He's going to be right on that if he goes another 10 years. And who knows how many races they're going to have too, right? I do think he's going to do it. And I think once he gets past like 300 or so, then it starts to become like, oh, I might as well just do this.
Yeah.
Probably be a multiple world champion by then. Cristiano Ronaldo will be tatted up with Max Verstappen tattoos up and down his body.
That's a good point, though, about them adding more races. That's definitely going to attribute to it. It's going to make it a lot easier. He's kind of said that, though, like when they're talking about like, oh, you've got your top 8 in wins. And he's like, yeah, well, we do a lot more races, blah, blah, blah. Especially when they were talking about his like lifetime points. And he's like, well, the points changed. I don't remember what year the point change happened, but it's wild watching those old races and being like, first place is like 10 points. You're like, what?
Yeah. It's like, was it like 10-8 or 10-7? But it was like, it wasn't that much of a difference.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can argue either way, but yeah, it was strange. You didn't have to win as many races back then to still win the title.
Yep.
So quickly, I don't want to spend too much on this because we don't really like talking about this, but I know a lot of people like crashes. I mean, they're interesting to watch. I like watching them. I mean, when you're at a race, you kind of are hoping to see a little something, but there's a couple of big crashes recently. This weekend, there was a Formula E race, and this one there are two different scenarios. So this one, Formula E race, it was just an interesting scenario. The guy was in first place. It started raining like halfway through the race, and their puddle formed by one of the like hairpins. So the guy that's leading goes to brake, hits the puddle, his whole rear end goes out. He slides pretty hard. It slams into the wall. Then the guy in second coming behind him, same thing happens to him, and then he slams into the wall. The guy in third, same thing happens to him. He slams into the wall. And then all the cars start piling up behind them on this hairpin. So the entire field gets stopped by this rain. Another guy passes to go into first, but they put a red flag up, or yellow or red flag. I'm not exactly sure. So basically, in the end, they couldn't continue the race, and the guy that crashed in first place ended up getting handed the win because that was when they put the flag up. So the guy that passed didn't get the win. But kind of a weird scenario. But
was it the final lap?
No, I don't think it was. I think there was definitely laps left.
That's very odd.
Again, it's Formula E, so I'm just going by what I've kind of seen online.
That's still very strange.
Yeah, it was a very strange scenario, but it was kind of, I don't know, something you don't really see much is just like one car slide out, hit the barrier, then the next car. It was like one of those videos with like in the winter with cars like trying to stop going down like hills on ice, and then they just all keep hitting into each other. It's a little bit like that. And then Monza, there was a more scary crash, which kind of brings me to a bigger point. Is like a guy, I don't know, again, it was sort of like the GT cars. He went to take a turn, back and went out. He hit a sausage curb. Car flips. He was okay, luckily. Same with all the guys in the Formula E race. But Lando Norris was quoted, and a couple other guys have been quoted saying, like, we need to get rid of sausage curbs. And Lando used that as the example.
Yeah.
I mean, again, not to make it about the video game, but in the video game, those damn sausage curbs really pissed me off. So I'd be happy if they got rid of those. But on a more serious note, yeah, they are like causing some serious crashes. And I know they put them in because they want the guys to slow down, but like they're clearly not going to always. They're going to be trying to push the limit. What do you think? Do you think sausage curbs are good to kind of keep the guys like a bumper, or is it too dangerous?
After I sent you a compilation of crashes caused by sausage curbs, and after watching that, I cannot ever, in good conscience, say that those should be on there. There's two in particular where you're like, holy shit, how are you not dead? It is unbelievable. It literally looks like a glitch in the game. It is so scary. Yeah. Absolutely do away with those. I'm so shocked that they did not do that after Max and Lewis's sort of bin in Monza. I guess because they kind of blamed it on, I guess, their back wheels catching and lifting it. I guess they were like, oh, it's caused by that, not the sausage curb. But
yeah, I mean, I blamed it on Max Verstappen, but yeah.
I blamed it on the pit teams, both fucking up so bad to where they both lined them up perfectly. Why would you do it?
Comes out onto the racetrack now, and is he going to be ahead of Lando Norris? That's the big key. No, he's not. And there's Max Verstappen right behind Hamilton into the first chicane. Once again, it's wheel to wheel. Hamilton and Verstappen, and this time Verstappen and Hamilton have crashed out.
Used to be a common theme this year for Mercedes.
Yes.
I hope they spent their week off just grinding the pits.
Hopefully. I'm so excited for France. Do we want to run through the race times? I can.
Yes, that's exactly what I was just going to say. Let's do France. Cool. Can you pull up the race times? I'm going to.
I got you right here.
Do that. I'm going to put the picture in right now so people know what I'm talking about. Adrian, have you seen the trophy for the French Grand Prix?
No, but I'm going to Google it now that you said that.
Well,
has it changed this year? Because I know the regular.
So basically, trophies under the FIA regulations must be in the form of a traditional cup. However, French Grand Prix is basically a giant gorilla holding a tire over his head.
Yes.
So every year we get some hilarious pictures that come out of that. So look out for that. It's a gorilla. So look out for that. It's given King Kong is what they refer to it as. So yeah, look out for that.
Dude, if I was an F1 driver, I would want that trophy more than anything. That is like so funny.
Oh my God, I'm just reading this article. I had this article pulled up. The best trophy, you've got to pull this one up. Ayrton Senna, back in 1993, won the Sonic the Hedgehog trophy.
No.
It's a Sega Europe Grand Prix, and it's just a massive, huge trophy that is Sonic the Hedgehog in all black, and then a big Sega on the base of the trophy.
Holy shit, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, that's the oh my God.
That's awesome. I like it. It's so ridiculous that I like it.
Yeah, it's the classic Sonic design with just the big blue Sega. You got to put that in the video. That's fucking awesome.
That's in there. That is nuts though.
Rest in peace. That's fucking legendary. That's awesome.
That'd be a sweet thing. That'd be like a sweet piece of memorabilia. I wonder where that is now.
Dude, you should Google 1993 Sega Europe GP. The race start is so funny. You have to put it in. Hold on.
I will.
Let me see if I can. I'm trying to figure out how I can send this to you. It's just it's the race start, and it's just where the lights should be or the sponsor. It's just Sega and Sonic.
Oh, no.
It looks like a video game.
I'll put it in, but yeah. Speaking of auction stuff, so Max Verstappen's auctioning off his helmet from Austria.
Yes.
For charity. It's currently at 135,000 euros.
Holy shit.
Like, what are you going to do with that helmet that, I guess you're not doing it for an investment or anything, you're just doing it because you want to have it, but I would just get a replica made or something.
What was the total?
135,000 euros.
Holy shit.
And the goal is to raise 300,000 for a helmet.
I mean, if it's for charity,
make one and say that he wore it. It's for charity, so it's for a good cause. So that's cool. But so I was also I would just get a replica made up from Austria. Yeah.
If I was a rich guy, I wouldn't bet, I wouldn't bet on it. If he had won, I would bet on it if I was rich.
Yeah, that's true too. You didn't even win.
Yeah, you lost.
Yeah, there's a cool. What is that? Oh, it's Max Verstappen's helmet from when he didn't win.
Yeah, from when he got second.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's creepy.
I'm gonna send you 3 photos over email, so look out for those.
All right. Do you have the race times up?
Yes, right here. So this Friday on July 22nd, FP1, all times I'll be reading are in Eastern. United States Eastern Time. Free practice 1 this Friday at 8 a.m. Free practice 2 is at 11 a.m. Free practice 3 is on Saturday, 7 a.m. Quali is at 10 a.m. And then the race is Sunday at 9 a.m. So it's a little early, but not too bad. And then, of course, we've got Hungary the following week.
All right, so I've got the Pirelli Formula One Lenovo Grand Prix de France Le Castellet preview. Race distance of 309.69 kilometers, a circuit length of 5.842 kilometers, 53 laps on the C2, C3, and C4 compounds, going from hard to soft. This track has 4 out of 5 traction, but also 4 out of 5 tire stress.
Interesting.
In there because there's a lot to look at that I don't really understand. They got the PSI on there. They got the camber. This is actually be useful in the video game to adapt.
So tire degradation is going to be a little bit higher this weekend then.
Yeah, so there's high traction, but also high deg.
That's been a big problem this season already. I mean, they were predicting that Austria was going to be a 1-stop, and it turned into a 2-stop. So
it's also apparently really, really, really hot. So look out Red Bull and look out Ferrari, because as we've seen, kind of the hotter the temperature, the more likely one of them is to have, or both of them, to have issues. Which brings us to our predictions. And I'm just going to step right up and throw the gauntlet out there and say Mercedes is winning the French Grand Prix. Either Lewis or Hamilton or George Russell is going to win the French Grand Prix. We're going to get 2 podiums this weekend.
I'm going to say we're going to get a Red Bull win this weekend.
Oh damn. I thought you were just using Mercedes as we. I was I got a little excited.
No.
So you're saying Red Bull is back on the horse, so to speak, which is should have saved that term for Ferrari. But Red Bull, Max Verstappen win is what you're saying.
I think so.
I'm saying 3. Again, to use this term, 3-horse race. It's going to be great to have 3. Hopefully this is the race where we actually get 6 cars. Maybe 5, maybe 4, depending on cars bowing out. Kind of like we saw at Silverstone. I'm kind of hoping for just a repeat of that, but right at the front. So yeah, but I think this is the week that Mercedes gets it done, gets their first win. That is my prediction. Realistically, I don't think they'll actually get 2 podiums. But I do think they're going to win this week. And I think if I'm going to make one crazy prediction, it's no podium for Red Bull in France.
Wow, that's a bold prediction. I'm going to make a similar prediction. I'm going to say no podium for Ferrari.
Okay.
Because it's projected to be 93 degrees this Sunday in France. And Ferrari does not perform well in the heat. I think we could have some reliability issues, but I need to knock on wood because that could backfire on Red Bull. We'll see.
That is true. Okay. So I guess, anything else on France? I mean, we said we like it. It's a good track, but it's probably the last time we're going to see it in F1.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's probably not going to get renewed. They want to build a new track in. I mean, it's spelt nice, but it's got to be like Nietzsche or something. There's a little accent there. Mm-hmm. South of France, beautiful. Maybe the new Monaco. So we'll see if that happens. But Alpine and Ocon's home race, Gasly's home race. So there's that. But I guess moving on, there's 2 F1 related documentaries coming out. The first one's coming out on Thursday, but the one I'm going to talk about first is because I have it pulled up. Keanu Reeves is producing. I think he's doing the interviews in it. Reeves has chosen to feature the story of how Ross Brawn, now F1's managing director, bought the failing Honda team in 2009 for just $1 and turned it into a championship-winning team that same year. That was Jenson Button won the championship that year. Literally seems like a fairy tale out of a Hollywood script that could never happen, but it happened. It happened. So
when does that come out?
Imagine that. I think they say it's not until next summer or something. They're just starting. I think he just started the interviews, but he's already interviewed Jenson Button and Rubens Barrichello. So I guess they're the 2 drivers from Brawn that year, and he's interviewed Ross Brawn. So he's getting all the main guys. So that should be really cool. And the other one, I don't really know too much about. I saw the trailer for it. It's called When We Were Young. featuring this season's F1 drivers remembering what led them to become professional drivers. Comes out Thursday at 5 CEST, so Central Time. The trailer looks like, it's hard to tell. Like, it looks kind of inspirational, but it also looks like it could be cheesy. I don't know. It's hard to tell like really much from the trailer. I mean, I'll probably watch it. I don't know. What do you think so far of the news of the 2 documentaries?
I'm so excited for the Brawn documentary. That's going to be amazing. It's going to be a hard waiting a year for that. But what is the When We Were Young coming out, or whatever it's called, or what platform is that releasing?
I don't know. It's like the FIA is saying it's an F1 documentary, so I don't know if it's coming out on.
Probably have to pay for it.
Like is it, they just releasing it on their app? It's the FIA's tweet that says, "We can't wait for you to see it out this Thursday at 5." So I don't really like. Maybe I can find out if I just scroll here. The FIA has released a trailer for its upcoming film. So it's an FIA film. So it's going to be full of lies. I was going to say something worse there, but I stopped myself.
Hey, but yeah, it's Bottas.
It does. It's got Bottas, Leclerc, Gasly, all the drivers getting their path to F1. Has Bottas talking about how he knew he was going to drive F1. Max talks about his career philosophy. There's George Russell recalls the time he got an autograph with Lewis Hamilton. Blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it could be good. Could be kind of cheesy. An FIA kind of sucking themselves off. But I don't know. Hopefully, I've got high hopes, I guess. Well, not high hopes, but I've got hopes.
For sure. I'm definitely going to watch it. And from what I'm seeing, it looks like it's just going to come out on the YouTube.
Oh, okay. Well,
on their YouTube channel.
Then. Yeah, that's awesome. Easy to watch for everyone.
Absolutely. I'm definitely going to watch that. I'm looking forward to it.
Good. Me too. We'll discuss it next week then, maybe. Well, maybe the week after. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe during the break. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I don't know if you've seen this yet. There's a driver that, an infamous former F1 driver that is back in the race car, quite successfully, in fact. Would you like to take a guess who this man may be?
This weekend, or is it just going to be happening soon? Because I know Roman Grosjean was talking about his Mercedes test still going to be happening at some point.
No, but I wish I would have personally been the one to ask him that question, because I think it was this weekend he got asked that. I should have been the one to ask him that. But I did see that. But no, this is someone that's not returning to anything to do with Formula One yet. His name, Nikita Mazepin.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
The Russian racing team.
Yes. My name is Nikita. So he entered the Silk Way Rally. The rally is a marathon-based event in Russia, starting in Astrakhan, of course, well-known. Who hasn't spent a few nights there? Before finishing in Moscow and taking place over 10 days.
Jesus.
So Mazepin was making his debut in the event and has never raced in cross-country rallies before. However, okay, this is just a line from the article, but I'm going to read it because it's kind of cheeky. However, he did pick up plenty of off-road experience during his year in F1.
That's good.
That's a dad joke. It's not too bad, yeah. So anyways, after winning stage 7 of the event, Nikita retained the lead and ended up being top of the timesheets for his T3 class at the overall finish line, making him the winner of his category for side-by-side vehicles. So Nikita Mazepin is back in the winner's circle.
Well, was he ever in the winner's circle?
I think when he was like 12 or 13, he had a very successful karting race when his dad owned all the karts.
Yeah. He had the fastest one. Hey,
yeah,
good,
so I
good
needed
for
to
him.
bring that to your attention.
Doing his Russian stuff.
Yeah. And but speaking of people that have a poor reputation in some circles, you, my friend, are becoming the bad boy of Reddit. So you now have had 5 accounts. You went through the whole process. Regale us with this tale of your 5th account being banned.
Unfortunately, I tried posting some stuff about our podcast and stupidly used some of my own accounts to like interact on the posts, just trying to get us some traction. You know, the grind. You do what you do, but Reddit does not take kindly to that. So They've now, I think my phone is just banned because I've made a new account on like a brand new email that has never had an account before, and it was deleted or banned or whatever. So yeah, we definitely won't be having our subreddit, so that has sort of gone down the drain, which is why you should check out our other social media platforms.
Exactly.
Yes.
Those would be YouTube,
yes.
Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. You can find us at Hardersoft F1 Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Excuse me, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Hardersoft F1. As we said, TikTok, we just got to over 100,000. I think one of ours did most of the heavy lifting on that. We had one that went, I don't know about viral, but it did pretty good for us. But we've had a lot that have gotten over 1,000. So those are slowly growing. Few potential opportunities that come out of the Indy, we don't know. But yeah, things are slowly but surely ramping up. Episode 21 here, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun. This was a fun episode. Anything else you want to say before we sign off and get prepared for France?
They say that 90% of podcasts stop before they hit episode 20, so we're already better than 90% of all podcasts. So go us.
Indeed, we are. And just patting ourselves on the back a little bit this episode, but it's good.
Yes.
Been a great summer. I got to go to an F1 race, Indy race. We got the media passes. So next thing is getting you to come with me, or you even to go on your own, whatever the case may be. But yeah, we've got lots of content to put out from that. And again, we're going to be applying for Media Credentials Dakota. So whether we get them or not, it'll be something to talk about on the podcast here. But yeah, hopefully lots of big things to come. It's been a fun episode. That's it for me. Thanks everyone for listening. On behalf of Robert McCullough, on behalf of Arjun McCullough, Adrian Huff, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good night.